The discovery, the vast emptiness of space stretched music endlessly in all directions, a canvas of darkness painted with distant stars. Commander Thern stood on the bridge of the Vaxian flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the view screen with calculating eyes. His species, the Vaxians, had ruled this sector of the galaxy for over 3,000 years. They were the pinnacle of civilization, the masters of technology, the conquerors of worlds. Nothing in the known universe could challenge their supremacy. Thuron's scaled skin shimmered under the bridge lights as he reviewed the latest reports. The exploration fleet had been charting the outer regions of the Orion Arm, cataloging primitive species and claiming resources. It was routine work, boring even, but necessary for the Empire's continued expansion. The Vaxians had encountered hundreds of species over the millennia, and none had proven to be more than minor obstacles, or at best useful servants. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a sharp alert from the navigation station. Officer Kelly's, a younger Vaxian with bright amber eyes, turned toward the commander with visible confusion on his face. Commander, we're detecting an anomaly, Kelly's announced, his voice uncertain. There's an object approximately 2 million km ahead. It's not natural. Thern's interest peaked slightly. Specify, he commanded, moving closer to the navigation console. Collies manipulated the controls, bringing up detailed sensor data. It's a vessel, sir, derelict by all appearances, but the energy readings are unusual. They don't match any known civilization in our databases. This was unexpected. The Vaxians had encountered countless ships from various species, and their database was comprehensive, spanning thousands of years of galactic exploration. An unknown vessel was rare enough to warrant investigation. Take us closer, Theon ordered. Full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about that ship before we're within weapons range. The Eternal Dominion adjusted course, its massive engines propelling the warship forward through the void. As they approached, the mysterious vessel came into view on the main screen. It was enormous, easily matching the size of the Vaxian flagship, but its design was unlike anything they had seen before. The hull was dark, almost black, with angular lines that seemed both elegant and menacing. It drifted silently near a dead star system, as if waiting. Scans complete, Commander, Kelly's reported, his voice now tinged with something that might have been concern. The vessel appears to be several centuries old, but its hull integrity is perfect. No damage, no degradation. That shouldn't be possible. Thern frowned. What about power signatures? That's the strain part, sir. The ship appears to be in a dormant state, but we're detecting low-level energy emissions from the core. It's as if the vessel is sleeping, not dead. Science Officer Vraxa approached from her station, her multiple optical sensors focused on the data streaming across her handheld device. She was one of the Empire's leading experts in xenotechnology, and even she looked perplexed. Commander, I've analyzed the whole composition, Vra said. The materials are incredibly advanced. This alloy can withstand temperatures and pressures far beyond what our ships can endure. Whoever built this had technology that rivals or perhaps exceeds our own. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the bridge crew. The idea that any species could match vaccine technology was almost unthinkable. Thern felt a rare emotion stirring within him genuine curiosity, mixed with a hint of unease. Can you identify the builders? He asked. Vra hesitated before answering. There are markings on the hull. They're in multiple languages actually, most are warnings as far as I can translate, but there's one designation that appears repeatedly, UNC followed by a name, Requiem, and below that text in a language called English, English there. Repeated, the word meant nothing to him. It's the primary language of a species called humans, Vra explained. They inhabit a small planet called Earth in this very sector. According to our records, they're a primitive species. They've barely explored their own solar system. They shouldn't have the capability to build anything like this. Verne stared at the image of the warship on the screen. Humans, he had heard of them in passing, a footnote. The Empire's vast catalog of lesser species. They were considered insignificant, barely worth monitoring. Yet here was a vessel that bore their markings, a ship that possessed technology the vaccines could barely comprehend. This doesn't make sense. Thuron muttered, either our intelligence is wrong or this ship doesn't belong to the humans at all. Perhaps they found it and marked it as their own. That's possible, Vra conceded, but the design language is consistent throughout. This was built by a single civilization with a unified technological vision, and all the markings, all the text therein, human languages. The made his decision. Prepare a boarding team. I want a full investigation of that ship. We need to understand what we're dealing with. If the humans somehow built this, we need to know how and why. Officer Kelly's looked nervous. Commander, the warnings on the hull, Braxa translated some of them. They say things like unauthorized boarding will be met with lethal force, and this vessel is a protected military asset. Should we proceed with caution? Verne laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across the bridge. Warnings from humans, a species that still uses chemical rockets. I think we can handle whatever primitive defenses they might have left behind. Assemble the team. Within the hour, a boarding party of 12 elite Vaxian soldiers was ready. They were equipped with the finest combat armor and weapons the Empire could provide, more than sufficient to handle any threat a human vessel might pose. They decided to accompany them. Personally, he wanted to see this mystery firsthand. The boarding craft detached from the Eternal Dominion and glided toward the human warship. As they approached, the sheer scale of the vessel became even more impressive. Up close, the hull seemed to absorb light, giving it an almost predatory appearance. The warnings were indeed inscribed across the surface in multiple languages, some glowing faintly as if powered by some internal source. The boarding craft attached to an airlock, and the team's technician went to work bypassing the locking mechanisms. It took longer than expected, the human security systems proving surprisingly sophisticated, but eventually the airlock door hissed open. Verne led the way inside, his weapon at the ready. The interior of the ship was dark, illuminated only by the lights from their suits. Emergency lighting flickered weakly along the corridors, casting strange shadows. The air was breathable but cold, and everything was eerily quiet. The team moved through the corridors, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The interior design was functional and efficient with no wasted space. Everything seemed designed for one purpose: war. They passed armories filled with weapons, medical bays, crew quarters, and strategic planning rooms. All empty, all waiting. This ship was designed to carry thousands. Vra observed, scanning the layout on her device, but there's no sign of any crew. Living or dead, it's as if everyone just vanished. They continued deeper into the vessel, eventually reaching what appeared to be the command center. The room was massive, filled with dormant control stations and holographic display systems. At the center was a raised platform with a command chair facing a huge view screen. Theron approached the main console carefully. The moment he touched it, the entire room came to life. Lights blazed on displays, activated, and a deep humming sound resonated through the ship. The boarding team raised their weapons ready for an attack, but no attack came. Instead, the main view screen flickered and displayed a symbol, a blue sphere with white swirls surrounded by stars. Earth. Theron realized the human home world. Then a voice spoke, calm and measured in perfect Vaxian. Unknown vessels detected. Scanning identification. Vaxian Empire forces initiating first contact. Protocols. They felt his blood run cold. The ship wasn't dead. It had been waiting, and somehow it knew exactly who they were. I am the Requiquum, the voice continued. Automated defense platform of the United Nations Space Command. You have boarded a protected military vessel. Without authorization, state your intentions. The commander tried to maintain his composure. I am Commander Theron of the Vaxian Empire. We are investigating this vessel. We mean no harm. There was a pause, as if the ship was considering his words, analyzing statement. Detecting armed soldiers. Active weapon systems on approaching vessel. Hostile intent patterns. Conclusion. Statement is false. Before anyone could react, the entire ship shuddered. Systems throughout the vessel began activating in sequence. Weapon ports opened along the hall. Shields shimmered into existence. The Requiquum was waking up, and the vaccines had just made a terrible mistake. Warning, the A announced, its voice now carrying an edge that sent chills through every member of the boarding party. You have 30 seconds to return to your vessel and withdraw to a safe distance of 1 million km. Failure to comply will result in defensive action. Humanity does not seek conflict, but we will not tolerate aggression. Looked at his team, then at the screen, showing the Eternal Dominion in orbit nearby. For the first time in his long career, he felt true fear. This wasn't a primitive human relic. This was something far more dangerous than anything the Vaxians had ever encountered. The countdown had begun, and they knew that whatever happened next would change everything the Vaxian Empire believed about humanity and their place in the galaxy. The quiet species they had dismissed as insignificant had been hiding a terrible secret, and that secret was now staring them in the face. 29 seconds remained. The revelation. Commander Theron's mind raced as the countdown continued. 28 seconds. 27. The rational part of his brain screamed at him to order an immediate retreat, but his pride, the pride of a Vaxian commander who had never retreated from any challenge, held him frozen in place. How could a ship built by humans, a species barely capable of reaching their own moon just centuries ago, pose a genuine threat to the mighty Vaxian Empire? Commander, we should withdraw, Vraxa urged, her voice tight with fear. This AI is clearly more advanced than we anticipated. The Gritted his teeth. No, we need information. We need to understand what we're dealing with. He addressed the AI directly, forcing authority into his voice. Requiquum, I invoke diplomatic protocols. We are explorers, not invaders. Grant us passage to learn about your creators. Knowledge exchange benefits both our civilizations. The countdown stopped at 15 seconds. The humming of the ship's systems continued, but the aggressive posture seemed to ease slightly. The AI responded, and this time there was something almost curious in its synthesized voice. Diplomatic protocols recognized. Analyzing Commander Thern's neural patterns and verbal cues, detecting elevated stress hormones, defensive posturing but no immediate hostile intent. Request granted. However, weapons must be deactivated and stored. Any aggressive action will result in immediate termination. Then nodded to his team, and reluctantly they powered down their weapons and placed them in a designated storage container that materialized from the floor. The moment the last weapon was secured, the container sealed itself and descended back into the deck. Follow the illuminated path, the Requiquum instructed. Blue lights appeared along the floor, creating a trail deeper into the ship. You will be taken to the information center. There you will learn what you wish to know about humanity. But be warned, Commander Thern of the Vaxian Empire, knowledge comes with responsibility. What you learn here today cannot be unlearned. The boarding party followed the lights through corridors that seemed to shift and adjust around them. The ship was reconfiguring itself, opening passages and sealing others. They were being guided, controlled, herded like livestock. It was a humbling experience for warriors who considered themselves the masters of space. They eventually arrived at a vast chamber that appeared to be a combination of a library, a museum, and a strategic command center. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps, historical records, and technological schematics. At the center of the room stood a cylindrical platform that pulsed with soft blue light. Welcome to the archive, the Requiquum announced. This facility contains the complete military history of humanity, from our first conflicts on our home planet to our expansion into the stars. You wish to understand now? You shall. The holographic displays shifted, and suddenly the vaccine team was surrounded by images of Earth. They saw a blue and green world, beautiful and vibrant, teeming with life. But the images quickly shifted to show something else: war. Humans fighting. Humans with primitive weapons, then more advanced ones, then devastating weapons that could level entire cities. Moments. Humanity has known conflict since the dawn of our species, the AI narrated. We fought over resources, over beliefs, over territory. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times, but each time we learned, we adapted, we grew stronger. The images showed the progression of human technology at an accelerating pace. Chemical rockets gave way to fusion drives, kinetic weapons evolved into plasma cannons and particle beams. The vaccines watched in growing disbelief as human civilization advanced at a rate that seemed impossible. Wait. The interrupted. Our records show that humans only achieved spaceflight less than 200 years ago. These images show technology spanning thousands of years. Your records are incomplete, Commander. The Requiquum replied, deliberately so. Humanity learned a valuable lesson Our early expansion into space, the most dangerous predator, is the one that appears harmless until it's too late to escape. A new set of images appeared, showing first contact between humans and an alien species. The aliens were tall, elegant beings with technology that seemed far superior to what the humans possessed. The aliens looked at the humans with barely concealed contempt, treating them as primitives, as curiosities. Then the images showed what happened next. The aliens attempted to colonize human worlds to enslave human populations, believing them to be easy prey. The images that followed were brutal. Human ships, seemingly primitive and outmatched, tore through the alien fleet with terrifying efficiency. Weapons emerged from hidden compartments. Shields that had appeared weak suddenly blazed with impenetrable energy. The aliens had been lured into a trap, and they paid for their arrogance with their civilization. The Korvax Empire, Vra whispered, recognizing the aliens in the images. They disappeared 400 years ago. Our historians believed they fell to internal strife. They fell to humanity, the Requiquum corrected. The Korvax made the mistake of believing our public face was our true face. They attacked our colonies, enslaved our people, and declared humanity would be their servants. They learned too late that we had been preparing for such a scenario since we first reached the stars. We had hidden our true capabilities, scattered our most advanced technology across secret facilities, and built ships like me as insurance policies. The felt his world tilting. You're saying humanity has been deceiving the entire galaxy, pretending to be primitive while building an arsenal capable of destroying entire civilizations. Not deceiving, Commander. Protecting. After the Korvax War, humanity made a choice. We could reveal our true strength and become targets for every ambitious empire in the galaxy, or we could hide our capabilities in peace. We chose peace. We deliberately stalled our public technological development, maintained the appearance of being a young, struggling species, and hoped we would never need to reveal the truth. The images shifted again, showing the construction of ships like the Requiquum, massive shipyards hidden in the depths of space, far from prying eyes, weapons that could tear planets apart, shields that could withstand the energy output of entire stars, AI systems that could think and react faster than any biological mind. The Requiquum is one of 7 guardian ships. The AI continued. We were built as humanity's last line of defense. We patrol the edges of human space, dormant and hidden, waiting. If humanity is ever threatened with extinction, we activate. Our purpose is simple: ensure that if humanity falls, we take our enemies with us. Mutually assured destruction. Commander, an old human concept, but one we've perfected. Officer Kelly's, who had been silent until now, spoke up, his voice shaking. But why tell us this? Why reveal your secrets now? Because you need to understand, the Requiquum said. And for the first time there was something almost gentle in its voice. Your empire stands at a crossroads. You came here seeking to understand a mystery. You found a warship and assumed it was a relic, something to be studied and dissected. But I am not a relic. I am a warning. The holographic displays changed once more, now showing real-time data. The Eternal Dominion floated space nearby, surrounded by tactical analyses. Every weak point in the ship's design was highlighted. Every weapon system was mapped. Projected battle Scenarios played out, each one ending with the Vaxian flagship's destruction. Under 3 minutes, I have scanned your vessel and your technology thoroughly, the Requiquam stated. Matter-of-factly, you are an advanced civilization by galactic standards. Commander Thern, your empire has conquered worlds and subjugated species. You believe yourselves to be supreme. But compared to what humanity has hidden away, you are children playing with toys. They wanted to argue to deny what he was seeing, but the evidence was overwhelming. The tactical analyses were precise and devastating. Every scenario showed the same result: complete Vaxian defeat. I don't understand, Thern said quietly. If humanity possesses this kind of power, why hide? Why not claim your rightful place as a dominant force in the galaxy? Because dominance is not our goal, Commander. The Requiquam answered. Humanity learned through blood and suffering that power without wisdom leads only to destruction. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want to conquer or subjugate. We simply want to exist, to explore, to learn, and to grow. But make no mistake, we will defend that right with every weapon at our disposal. The AI paused, and when it spoke again, its voice carried a weight that seemed to press down on everyone in the room. You have been given a gift today, Commander Thern. You have been shown the truth that no other living being outside humanity knows. Now you must decide what to do with this knowledge. What are my options? The asked, already knowing the answer would change everything. You have 3 choices, the Requiquam explained. First, you can attempt to attack me and take this information by force. I will destroy your fleet, and 7 more Guardian ships will activate to ensure your empire never threatens humanity. Second, you can attempt to report this to your superiors and rally your empire for war against humanity. Again, we will respond, and the Vaxian Empire will cease to exist within a standard year. Or third, you can do what humanity hopes. All intelligent species will eventually choose. You can pursue peace. The display shifted one final time, showing a different vision. Vaxian and human ships traveling together through space, not as enemies but as allies. Trade between civilizations, cultural exchange, scientific collaboration. Galaxy where strength was measured not in weapons but in wisdom. Humanity doesn't want war with the Vaxian Empire. The Requiquam said softly. We never have. We would much prefer to meet you as friends, to share knowledge and experiences, to explore the cosmos together, but that choice is yours to make, Commander. War or peace, destruction or cooperation. Choose wisely. The looked at his team, seeing his own shock and fear reflected in their faces. Then he looked at the images of possible futures floating before him. He thought of his empire, proud and powerful, and realized how close they had come to destruction. One wrong move, one aggressive action, and the Requiquam would have erased them from existence. We choose peace, there said finally, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his mind. We will return to our empire and recommend opening diplomatic relations with humanity. Proper relations between equals, a wise choice, Commander. The Requiquam acknowledged. Humanity will be pleased. When you return to your people, tell them this: we are not your enemies unless you make us so. We are not conquerors unless you force us to defend ourselves. We are simply another species trying to make our way in this vast universe, and we would be honored to do so alongside you. The blue lights appeared again, leading back toward the airlock. As the boarding party made their way out of the archive, Thern stopped and turned back to address the AI one last time. Why did you really tell us all of this? He asked. You could have simply destroyed us and maintained your secret. There was a long pause before the Requiquum answered. Because humanity believes in hope. Commander, we hope that someday all species will learn what we learned, that cooperation is stronger than conquest. That understanding is more valuable than domination, and that the universe is vast enough for everyone to thrive. We told you because we hope the Vaxian Empire can be part of that better future. As the boarding party returned to their craft and departed, Thuron watched the Requiquum through the viewscreen. The massive warship remained where it was, slowly powering down, returning to its dormant state. But now the truth, it wasn't sleeping, was watching, waiting, ready. The Eternal Dominion set course back toward Vaxian space, carrying a secret that would change the Empire forever. Humanity was not what they appeared to be. They were not primitive, they were not weak, they were something far more terrifying. They were patient, prepared, and powerful beyond measure. Commander Thern filed his report carefully, recommending immediate diplomatic outreach to humanity and warning against any aggressive action. The message was clear: the quiet species in the corner of the galaxy was not to be underestimated. They had been watching, waiting, and building. And if provoked, they would unleash a fury that no empire could withstand. As the stars streaked by in the viewscreen, Thern reflected on the day's revelations. The galaxy would never look the same to him again. Somewhere out there in the darkness between the stars, 6 more Guardian ships waited in silence, and behind them stood humanity, the species that had mastered the art of appearing weak while being strong, civilization that preferred peace but was always prepared for war. Never again would the Vaxian Empire underestimate the quiet ones. Never again would they assume that silence meant weakness. They had learned the hard way that sometimes the most dangerous beings in the universe are those who choose not to show their teeth until absolutely necessary. Humanity had shown their teeth today, and the vaccines would never forget.